like on every season of Love is Blind, we have a resident negger. Like a guy just right out the pods is insulting women, negging women, joking, bantering, whatnot. And all the women watching are instinctively rolling their eyes as soon as we see them. Personally, I don't think negging will die out in my lifetime, and dare I say, my future children's lifetime if I have any. Just because it's so common practice, and it's not just on dating apps, it happens in real life as well. And in London, it's just so bad just because like British culture has this air of sarcasm in it, which just makes it worse. Now, there's definitely varying degrees to negging. Definitely, it's on a spectrum. There's light, medium, intense. But I feel like in dating, more women are having less tolerance for it. Me, I'm very no tolerance. I'm very militant. I will check you or I'll just block and unmatch you. One of the two. There's still, some girlies out there that will either excuse or rationalize the negging. And I do think a lot of negging is rationalized as banter, just joking, etc. Now, the resident negger of this season was Dave. And I think the first bit that he was doing was asking girls, what's wrong with you? And he was also telling, the women that were over 30 that they were unattractive. And then going, oh, it's just a joke. I'm just joking. And I feel like after that, like, loads of the women were like, nope, next, this man is not my husband. But a few women stuck around. Actually, there was one woman that he didn't neg, so she didn't really know about it. She just kind of heard about it. But there was one woman who he fully negged, and she stuck around, and that was Lauren. Now, in the beginning, Lauren was kind of like, oh, like, should I just walk out on this date? Kind of bantering back. But I was like, girl, yes, you should. You should. Red flag immediately. And I think she got it twice. She got the what was wrong with you and, oh, you're 30, so you're unattractive. I personally would have dipped after that. But it's just the audacity for me. And don't get me wrong, good looking men neg as well. But most of the time, it is the I wouldn't say ugly, but like not the good looking ones. And I do think it comes from a place of, yes, they want to manipulate, things like that, definitely. But it definitely comes from a place of insecurity as well. And of course, audacity, as I was saying, because the audacity, considering what Dave looks like, because the audacity of Dave to be commenting on anyone's looks. Now, Dave is this self-confessed shallow guy. He says that he works in the cosmetics industry. So he just kind of feels like that has basically influenced him on how he thinks women should look. But I just find it so funny when you hold the mirror up and you're not even matching what the ideal man should look like. It's not given he goes to the gym and he himself clearly has got that work done. It's given when Channing Tatum was going a bit too hard with the fillers and the Botox. That's what it's given. So to me, clearly he's insecure because he's obviously got some work done. But even after the work has been done, it's still not giving. So for me, yes, it's giving manipulation tactics, it's giving audacity, but it's also giving very insecure because, even after the work has been done, honey, he's still not looking a 10. And therefore, his objective is now to just bring down women's self-esteem. He seems to have a good job, so I feel like maybe money is what he leads with. A lot of men with money who are assholes, it just makes them even worse because what they'll do is they'll find a woman and dangle money in front of them and basically tell them to jump high. He definitely gives those vibes because as we get to know him more, he starts talking about how in the past, I'm not sure how recent that past was, but he basically admits to being a fuckboy, admits to being an asshole, not treating women very right. But does he give heartbreaker vibes? Does he give heartbreaker? The looks is not giving heartbreaker. The personality is not giving heartbreaker. It's given, he has these businesses, he has money, and he throws money at women, and he basically, leverages money to treat women badly. That's the type of asshole vibe I'm getting from him. And he comes forth and he comes clean to Lauren about this, and Lauren is still talking to him. Why? This is just too many red flags adding up here. We got the negging, we got the insulting, and now he's saying that he treated women badly in the past. And I totally believe him. But Lauren is still there. And this is what happens when women get desperate for marriage. They just start accepting anything. And women are socialized to basically accept shit from men. Like even now we are still negotiating. This season is cast in Minneapolis and it seems like I don't know, but it seems like the place has a very strong religious Christian community in there. I believe they're both Christian, but anybody who's grown up Christian, grown up in the church, basically the church teaches you to just accept shit from your husband and accept shit from men, and that's just how it is. That's basically how it is. So again, I'm not really surprised that Lauren is accepting this crap from Dave, but again, I'm not surprised. Eventually they get deep with each other, they get vulnerable with each other, and he almost seems like a normal guy. I wouldn't say decent, just because like we're off to a bad start, we're never going to get good, but seems like an acceptable guy to marry if you're desperate, like once we get deep in the layers and we find out a bit about him. Then other red flags appear because he starts talking about his sister and how basically Lauren would need to win his sister's approval. I don't know if this is a big sister or a little sister, but for me it seemed very strange. I could understand maybe if it was the parents, but the sister, I'm winning your siblings' approval. Weird. That should have been a red flag that Lauren left. I don't know why she's still there after that red flag. Obviously, he plays it down in the pods, but it seems like in the trailer in the future, that's going to become an issue. And I get the whole wanting to be family oriented thing, but for me, when people start talking about like, oh, I need my family to approve of you, like blah blah blah, for me it's a red flag, and I don't have time for that. I don't have time for people who aren't their own person. I don't have time for people who can't stand up to their sister. On top of this, they were in a love triangle because there's another woman involved in this relationship for most of it. And that person is Molly. Molly is the one who he didn't neg. I personally thought that he would go for Molly just because it seemed like they had a bit more chemistry, and it was a lot more lighthearted and fun. And because I think that he assumed that she was going to fit the aesthetic that he liked, because Molly presented herself that way. Anyway, in that love triangle, he's basically telling them both kind of the same thing, like, you're my number one. No, you're my number one. I can see myself marrying you. Oh, I'm going to break it off with her. And then would just go back and forth telling them the same thing. And it was confusing to us who he was going to choose because he was basically telling them both the same thing. Eventually, he breaks up with Molly. Literally the day after he said that he was going to break up with Lauren, Molly's obviously confused, but she peeps the game and she knows how these men are. And she basically calls him out a little bit, but he gaslights her. And she's basically like, okay, bet, I know what it is. And she has a talk with Lauren and basically warns her that, he's been saying the same things to her and like, yeah, you need to kind of keep your wits about you. But he basically says, yes, you're his number one now, but he was basically saying that to me. Lauren has a talk with him about it and kind of confronts him on it, but she is not very hard line and she basically lets him gaslight and talk his way out of it. And there was several things that he said, but I was just like, how are you ignoring this? Like, especially when he was basically like, first he tried to lie and be like, no, I never told Molly she was my number one. I would never say that. Then it was like, even if I did say, if I said that to her, it was a lie. And Lauren is there eating it up. Like, okay, yeah, because I'm your number one. Like, all she cares about is being number one and skirting past that he just said that he lied. So if he lied to Molly, what makes you think he's not going to lie to you and the lies are not going to continue? So yeah, she ignored so many red flags, end up getting engaged, but in the trailer, he's running game again. He's running game again and he's starting the negging again, talking about her hair colour, talking about her looks. And now she's there feeling insecure, wanting his validation. Girl, look what he looks like and look what you look like. And this is why, ladies, run at the first sign of negging, because this is crazy.